What's this? Another retrospective when you're in the middle of making another one? Well mate, like any porn star worth their salt, I can handle more than two at once. Long time coming this retrospective. I named my channel after the series, and in over 100 videos and counting, I've never talked about Metal Gear, apart from Metal Gear Solid 5, but believe me, I'm going for round 2 with that fucking game. But we've got a few games to get through before that point, so let's begin with the man himself, Hideo Kojima. On August the 6th, 1945, the USA dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima, an event that changed the world we knew. Through the wreckage emerged a man who promptly said, "Fucking hell mate, nukes are a right pisser, better make a video game about these." That man was Hideo Kojima. Sadly, video game technology was not invented at this point, so Kojima put himself in cryostasis until that point. When he got out, he joined Konami and discovered that he wasn't that good at making games, developing bombs like Penguin Adventure and loads of other ideas that got rejected by his superiors. He had one more chance to make a game that was good, so he pitched the idea for Metal Gear on the MSX. Bear in mind, this was in an age where every game was either a platformer or a shooter. So a game where you had to hide and avoid the enemy where you could was a foreign concept. Konami let Kojima have a crack, and in 1987 Metal Gear was released and it received critical acclaim. But nowadays the game is fucking shite, I think. Loads of obtuse gameplay sections, shit checkpoint system, enemies and items respawn when you come back to new screens, making it easy to exploit. Just don't bother with it now. Metal Gear Solid took all the good ideas from it and improved them anyway, since it's pretty much a remake of it. Metal Gear 2 came out 3 years later and was a big improvement. This one is actually worth the play, as you get to see a game pretty ahead of its time, and a lot of the ideas from this get transferred to 3D in Metal Gear Solid. It's still got obtuse sections and stuck in old school design sensibilities, things that I hate. Also, nothing really happens in Metal Gear 1 and 2. This was back when you could write video game stories on the back of a stamp, a technique Kojima reused when making Metal Gear Solid 5. The first Metal Gear game stars your boy Solid Snake, a rookie of Foxhound. He is sent in by his commander Big Boss to the fortress Outer Heaven, with the goal of finding the missing squad member Grey Fox and investigating a weapon known as, you guessed it, Metal Gear. After Snake finds Fox and blows up Metal Gear, Big Boss is revealed to be the leader of Outer Heaven, which he created as a place for soldiers to fight free of any ideology. He fights Snake and gets battered. Metal Gear 2 reveals Big Boss survived. Metal Gear Solid 5 retcon that, but we will cover that. The two scrap again, with Snake once again achieving victory. He also has to put down Grey Fox because he is fiercely loyal to Big Boss. There, sorted that for you. Basically just ripped the wiki entry and edited it a bit there. So then we hit Metal Gear Solid. 6 years later, Snake is retired living in Alaska, trying to escape being a tool for the government. Roy Campbell, that's Snake's commander from Metal Gear 2, has other ideas though. He sends in armed guards and arrests Snake. Roy then says, "Oi mate, your old unit has gone rogue and wants to launch a nuke innit? Unless they get Big Boss's remains and money, sort it out for us fam by stopping them and saving the DARPA chief and Arms Tech president." Also, my niece is stuck there too. Snake reluctantly agrees and gets fired from a submarine towards Shadow Moses Island, where his old unit are making their stand. Straight away, Metal Gear Solid shows you it wants to be an interactive movie. The cool intro segment blended in the credits over your gameplay. Fun fact for you, most of the names you see for the voice actors were pseudonyms because the Screen Actors Guild were quite funny about actors being in video games. Fuckers have changed their tune now though, haven't they? It was a short, snappy, well-made intro that really gave you a taste for what you were in for and introduced you to one of the game's best characters, Shadow Moses Island. Just like some of the best PS1 games, the game's main environment was so memorable. I can remember the tank hangar, the nuclear storage building, the commander's office. It's up there with your Spencer Mansions, Midgar and Black Mesa. It's a great experience to explore with some absolutely banging music to accompany its environments. Snake was sent in alone to Shadow Moses with just him, his packet of fags and codec to talk with Roy Campbell, Mei Ling with her stupid philosophical quotes that I always skipped, Naomi the Doctor, Master Miller, survival expert, and Nastasha Romanenko, the weapon expert who I'd never called. world. You meet some other characters throughout the game you can contact via codecs, such as Otacon, Metal Gear's designer, and Deep Throat, aka Grey Fox in the end. Even though you had all this radio backup, you still felt massively alone. The cold, dark environments reinforced that quite a bit, as well as Snake being massively outmanned and gunned, but he has an endearing, calm confidence in himself. A few of the characters assume he's just a cold-hearted killer who loves a good war, but he proves time and again he has a heart as well as a penis.
I remember. First I'm strip searched by Dr. Naomi here, and then all my weapons are taken away. Imagine yourself put in that position.
Well, if you make it back in one piece, maybe I'll let you do a strip search on me.
I'll hold you to that, Doctor.
The plot was unlike anything seen at the time. The pro voice acting gave the plot plenty of authenticity, and Metal Gear Solid had an intriguing script. Within the first 20 minutes, it grabs you with a mystery. Snake's first objective is to rescue two hostages, the DARPA chief and the Arms Tech president. They both tell Snake a Metal Gear has been built in secret, and also give him methods to disable it, but both mysteriously die of heart attacks right in front of him. So clearly something weird is going on, and you, as well as Snake, find information on it at a great pace. The plot does have a few plates spinning. Who's the Grey Ninja? Why are these people dropping dead of heart attacks? Does Meryl want to get drilled by Snake? Yes is the answer to that last one, by the way. So you've got a solid plot, see what I did there, and solid environment design, but was there solid gameplay to back it up? Yep. Since Snake was alone on the island, Metal Gear was a stealth game, much like the previous two games. It was viewed from a mostly top-down perspective, but how would you actually see guards? The Soliton radar, and thank fuck for it. It showed you Snake's position as well as the enemies and their vision cones, allowing you to watch their movements, then sneak around. If the game didn't have this, it would be a bit poo, because you would have to enter first person every 5 seconds or run in hoping for the best. It does mean you're playing most of the game looking at it, but it is a worthwhile sacrifice. When Snake is spotted, you're hunted down like a rabid animal. It's horrifically panic-inducing. Armed guards come at you, following you into rooms with pure aggression, but if you think quick and find a hiding spot, you can get away pretty much unmolested. In part, that's thanks to Snake's pretty impressive moveset for the time. Pressing against a wall gave you a better view of what was ahead. You could also knock on said wall to distract guards. Snake could also crawl under objects and into vents, break a guard's neck or knock them out, and finally smoke a fag, which actually comes in more useful than you might think. All of those skills come in really handy throughout the game. Unlike a lot of the items you receive throughout the adventure, you get loaded down with so much bollocks, most of which you will never need. It's nice that the game gives you so much to play with, but it's totally unnecessary. And some of the action segments are absolute piss, since the controls aren't suited to pure action. The section where you're getting chased up the stairs, it looks ridiculous as well as playing ridiculous. You're constantly getting shot and just have to tank it up the 7,000 flights of stairs. Also, having to switch to card keys when you want to open a door. If you have, say, your rations equipped in the left slot, you can't open key-carded doors until you switch it up for the key card. It's not too much of a task, but there's lots of doors in this game, so it stacks up some wasted time throughout. But the boss fights redeem those little blemishes. They all have their own strategies and personality to them. Yes, Psycho Mantis was good. Every twat on YouTube has made a top 10 boss fights list and put Mantis in there, even though they've never played the game. You don't even have to pull the controller out, you know, just smash the statues in the corners of the room and then you can fuck him up. The sniper wolf fights I don't like though, because the sniping controls like turd, but you can just use the Nikita instead, so meh. But that's the cool thing about Metal Gear, there's lots of interesting ways around situations besides the obvious ones. Now we come to the cutscene versus gameplay ratio. Metal Gear Solid has a lot of cutscenes, stating the obvious, I know. How much it will piss you off is down to you. Me, I like it when a game touting a deep story actually sits you down and explains what's going on. Unlike a few games where they don't bother doing that, then the fanbase pretend it's really deep and thought-provoking. Dark Souls. Looking at the cutscenes today, it can look a bit daft, since the characters have no mouths or facial animation, but all the emotion is portrayed through the voice acting. I do think they are a necessary evil, until you get to the end. Jesus Christ, it gets right up its own arse. The amount of times characters mention genes is fucking ridiculous. And at points it feels like Snake's role in the plot just seems to be to repeat the last word in every sentence from other characters' mouths with a questioning tone.
Second floor basement. Gas. Deep throat. Wolf? Sniper wolf? I didn't know that. Yeah. What did you say? She lied. Baker's files. Got past security? You mean it won't show up on radar? You mean they ran a computer model? Bribe money, huh? Shape memory alloy. This card key? An assassination weapon? Fox die. Arrest. Ace in the hole.
Trying to explain Metal Gear Solid's story through gameplay alone would have been impossible. I mean, the plot thickens so much after the heart attacks I mentioned. There's Fox die, the genome armor, Les Enfants Terribles, the Pentagon involvement, Naomi and Grey Fox, all these plot points beautifully woven together throughout the game. So with a banging plot, gameplay and graphics for the time, Metal Gear Solid smashed it critically and commercially. It was a game that showed just what the PS1 was capable of. But Glenn, what about the remake Twin Snakes? I'll cover that in the Metal Gear Solid 2 video since it shares the same gameplay engine. Thankfully that's the only thing it shares with Metal Gear Solid 2.